What is happening, people? I grew a beard. And I have a story because it has been a ridiculously rough couple of months. So we're going to get into all of that. Before we do, I did want to let all of you know that next Monday, a week from today, on May 12th, I will be doing a webinar with my wife on my wife's channel all about some of the dangers of getting too comfortable in your life. And I'm going to be discussing different places and ways to add discomfort into your life to promote a bunch of growth. It should be a really good time and should be really informative. So if you are interested in that, you can get the details in the description box down below. All right, so this odyssey actually begins on Thanksgiving of last year because it has been that long since I have felt good. Again, it's been a rough couple months. Now, I did need to preface this story by telling all of you that I have had Lyme disease many times in my life. I've had complications throughout. I've literally pulled off 15 to 20 deer ticks off of me over the years. That's not talking about normal ticks. That's talking about deer ticks, that a lot of them I have shown up with bullseyes and gotten different things. Yes, that picture, I do not have 2 nipples there. That is actually a Lyme disease reaction. And that was the latest one that I'm going to get into later in this story. However, like I said, over the course of my life, I have had complications from Lyme from time to time. And about every 4 months, I have a flare-up. And typically these flare-ups manifest in a Lyme knee situation. Now, if you don't know what Lyme knee is, that basically means that the Lyme disease will attack one area. For me, it tends to be my left knee, where I've had multiple surgeries from injuries and stuff like that. And my leg swells up so badly that's like a peg leg. I literally can't bend it. It's extremely painful. I can't use it. I end up getting laid up for a couple days, and it's horrible. And it does not go away until I take antibiotics, typically doxy, for 22 days. And then after that, it typically starts to go away and everything is fine after that. So on Thanksgiving, I felt a little tweak in my knee, and that is how I know it's gonna start. And from that, literally the next day, I couldn't fit my leg inside of a pair of jeans because it was so swollen, and that lasted for about a month. That was a setback. Now, as soon as I was getting over this Lyme knee episode, I came down with a fever. I haven't had a fever like this literally in decades. I was so sick. There were times when the fever was up to 105 degrees and would stay there. And I was literally, I'm not a cold person. I never get cold, but I was underneath like layers and layers and layers of blankets with like multiple layers of clothes on and sweatshirts and hoodies and beanies. And I'm just sitting there shivering. And I honestly would have went to the hospital. I probably should have went to the hospital, but I was so cold that I didn't want to go sit in the waiting room for 3 hours while I just sat there. Horrible. So I didn't end up going, but I did pump myself full of a lot of Tylenol and ibuprofen and pretty much anything else that I could put in me that would break the fever. The fever eventually broke after about 4 or 5 days, and I started feeling better. However, I started getting pain on my right side, which led me to the doctor's office again. They did an ultrasound because my blood levels were messed up, and it showed that my liver enzymes were elevated because I kind of harmed my liver with all that medication that I was taking to try to break the fever, which led me to decide to start a cut. Because at that time in my life, this is right around the beginning of January, I was weighing around 255, and although I didn't look terrible, I was still probably fatter than I've pretty much ever been in my life. So I knew that I needed to do something about it. And this was a great reason why. Because for those of you who do not know, if you're carrying a bunch of extra body fat on your body, some of that does go around your organs. And if your liver starts to get fatty, that can lead to very harmful things. So I went on a cut and really my plan was to cut about 30 pounds and get down to around 225 and then kind of start rebuilding from there with a very clean type of meal, and things were going great. Everything was wonderful. After about 30 days of complete clean eating, I dropped like 15-20 pounds on the diet, so I was feeling really good about that, and I went back to the doctor to get some more blood work done just to find out what was going on. And terrific news, my liver enzymes had dropped back down to normal and everyone was super happy. That said, the pain that was kind of here in my side rotated around to the back, and now I was getting a lot of kidney pain. And I kept telling the doctor I'm in kidney pain. He kept saying it's probably some residual stuff, just kind of wait and see what happened. Like a lot of people, I waited a little too long, kept dealing with the pain until one day that pain got for real serious. Like it was legitimately painful. That same day, I ended up passing a kidney stone. And for any of you who have ever had the experience of passing a kidney stone. It is a lot less fun than you were imagining. But once that kidney stone was gone, after a couple days, I started feeling a good bit better, just continued on with the cut, started feeling a little bit like my old self, and did hit that 30-pound mark of weight loss that I was aiming for at the beginning of the cut. At this time, I went to go visit some family in Pittsburgh, and the night that I arrived in Pittsburgh, I ended up getting another deer tick off of me, which is the picture that you saw where it looks like I have 2 nipples. Also, while I was on this trip, I was hiking with my brother-in-law and I was walking across a slimy, wet log and ended up slipping out and went to catch myself and pulled my groin, something fierce, which I'm still dealing with today. But back to Lyme disease. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I have pulled a lot of deer ticks off of my body, but I have never had a reaction like I had to this little jerk of a deer tick. It was absolutely terrible. I would say about 3 days after removing the tick and being on antibiotics, I started getting chest pain and like thinking I was gonna have to go to the hospital because I was having like an episode. I didn't understand what was happening because I was having extreme muscle cramps. However, it wasn't in my pecs. It was in my chest, but it was almost like in my intercostals between my ribs. And it literally felt like my body was being crushed like this. And every time, man, I couldn't move. I was in so much pain. It was worse pain than the kidney stone pain from like a month earlier. So it was absolutely terrible. So the doctors put me back on antibiotics as well as prednisone. Now, prednisone is an absolute miracle drug. If you ever hurt yourself, get on prednisone. That stuff works. However, prednisone's like a 7-day cycle or something like that. And as soon as I came off it, I was cool because once I got on prednisone, the pain went away. But about 2 days, once I stopped the prednisone, the pain started to come back, except it wasn't the same. Now it wasn't like muscular in my chest. It attacked all of my joints, like my knees, my elbows, my wrists, my everything. Like every joint in my body was so stiff that I could barely move. So the doctor put me back on prednisone. I was still on the antibiotics, and I did another 7-day cycle of that. Once I got done that, I finished out my antibiotics, and I'm still in a little bit of pain. And again, my groin is pulled, and that isn't helping things. But I basically talked to the doctor, and he's like, man, you have been on antibiotics for like 4 of the last 6 months. So really, let's stop doing the antibiotics. Let's just see what's going to happen. So that is where we're currently at, but I am starting to feel a little bit better, and I'm hoping that we can get back to our normal programming. I have a couple big videos planned that I want to share with you guys, but honestly, I ended up losing an extra 10 to 15 pounds. I'm literally a lower body weight now than I was when I was in college, which I'm not happy about, because I haven't been able to lift heavy because of all the joint and muscle pain and the drugs and everything else. It just hasn't been good. And I haven't been eating because I've been feeling so sick, and just the Lyme has really, it's done a number on me this time. So I'm finally starting to turn the corner, feeling a bit more like my old self, and I am getting back after things. So hopefully over the next couple months, you guys are gonna see me build back up, and I'm gonna start feeling a little bit better. But that is a small explanation for why the absence has been here. I haven't been around, I haven't been making videos, I haven't been on social media, I haven't really done anything because literally I've just been taking care of my health, as well as doing the last year of my master's degree, which is the most intense year that I've been part of so far. So it's just been a lot, and I haven't had as much disposable time to do the things like I really want to do, like make you guys videos, but I did think that I should check in and let you all know what's going on. So hopefully next week, as long as everything goes the way that's planned, I'll be putting out another video. Everything is going to be great. We're all going to be happy, and we're going to move on just like we were before. Now, like I said, a week from today, next Monday, on May 12th, I'm going to be doing a webinar with my wife for her channel about discomfort in your life and how to add different things that will help you grow as a person, mentally, physically, spiritually, all the good things. So I really hope some of you will choose to attend. You can sign up on her website. Like I said, the description in the link to that is in the description box down below. But I thank you all for your support. I thank you all for staying with me, and I thank you all for your thoughts, prayers, your well wishes, everything like that. So really, we're gonna get back to it. All right. So, but until we do, go out to something amazing in your lives. Keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other. I'll see you then. It's good to be back.